White House is hoping to change the conversation.
Today, they're unveiling another one of their theme weeks.
Ooh, theme weeks.
This week is actually Energy Week.
Possible collusion between a member of the Trump campaign and Russian hackers.
All week at the White House, we are celebrating.
President Trump slamming his own attorney general.
Throughout this week, we've been talking about the American dream.
Anthony Scaramucci is out.
That, of course, is The Daily Show, being funny, but we got to get serious. Maybe the White House's theme weeks have not been a success, and making progress for the next 2 weeks could be tough. Congress is out for August recess. The president set to spend the next 17 days at his New Jersey golf resort. So what is this White House actually doing? Joining me now, Shannon Pettypiece, White House reporter for Bloomberg News, and my panel, Jason Johnson and Kate Calley. Shannon, I want to start with you, a reality check. Some people are saying, bringing General Kelly in, this is a reset. But a reset of what? The person who drives taking us off the agenda is the president himself, no one else.
And the question, can you change a person, or can you just change the environment around them to make it more conducive for that person to operate in? I don't think anyone's thinking that Kelly's going to change Trump, but can he change the environment around him to help him get his agenda going? And I think over these next 2 weeks, a big focus from what I've been hearing a bit is going to be around getting the communications messaging under control. Because if you can get that messaging, if you can get the tweets under control, which I know we talk about all the time and that never happens, but if you can get the tweets under control, if you can get the messaging out of the president at some of these rallies under control and get them to stop talking about, attacking a talk show host or going after Russia and acting guilty all the time, you stop freaking out members of Congress and world leaders and you can move forward.
But what is it that General Kelly is going to do that's so different, okay? Stephen Miller, who writes the president's speeches, got up to the podium in his wildly inappropriate and abusive jamboree, and General Kelly was already at his post, and it had been reported people in the White House were high-fiving Stephen Miller right, left, and center. And Jason, the president and his tweets, you could change the environment, right, but I'm pretty sure he's all alone in his big, gold-gilded bed while he's tweeting tomorrow morning, see you there at 7 a.m.
Right, yeah. Look, he wakes up every day angry, depressed about something, decides he's going to tweet, decides he's going to retweet something, and there's nothing. Look, unless Kelly wants to sleep by his bed, unless he wants to put tape around the phone or cut off his Verizon plan, you can't stop the president from tweeting. And I think it's silly when people say that you can finally control a 7-year-old man who's made it clear that he has no discipline.
Right.
None of these changes are going to take effect.
And General Kelly, if you read the Times today, is not even going to try to do that. He's not going to take away the phone, and he's not going to try to control the president. What he will try to control is access to the president. Even family members have been asked to check in with General Kelly if they want to get time with him. And he's also trying to curtail the list of issues that get to Trump for his consideration, so that side factions can't come into his office and whisper in his ear about some issue that they haven't vetted.
But he's not a 7-year-old who's like, let's not tell him that grandma passed away, right?
Right.
Russia's there. You can't hide that from him. And
sure,
what we've seen with the president, yes,
you can distract. And it is what the president does so well. Some people are aghast, saying, how could these leaks have come out about the president and his call with Peña Nieto or the Prime Minister of Australia? But if you actually...
One of my favorite stories from yesterday.
But if you actually looked at those conversations the president had, sure, they were embarrassing, but it was Trump being Trump. There was no surprises. Where the White House wins in those leaks is now we're talking about the leakers. At 11 a.m., Jeff Sessions gets to please the president, distract us all away from Robert Mueller, the bulldozer,
right,
and go up there and say, these leakers, we have to stop them. They're rocking our democracy. It's a win for the White House,
I agree with your points on authenticity as well as strategy here. However, I do think that the transcripts, whoever leaked them, show an embarrassing superficiality. In terms of being focused on the optics, at points not even seeming to care terribly much about the outcome of the policy dispute, but really just saying, look, this is going to make me look so weak. I've only been in office for a week. I can't go here. I can't do this.
But are you surprised? I mean, like, Shannon, was there anything in those transcripts that surprised anyone in any way? It was true Trump being Trump. He hasn't surprised us.
And someone who has no foreign policy experience, no government experience, no executive experience, ran a family business, I think that's probably how you would expect that person to talk to a world leader. But I would like to see the transcripts from the past month. That was early on in the administration, the first few weeks. I'm very curious, and I don't know the answer to that, of what has he learned any lessons about how to deal with these world leaders? The G20 seemed to go a bit better than the G7, so he seems to be a bit more comfortable on that turf. But I'd really like to see, is he learning any of these lessons, especially with foreign policy and dealing with these leaders abroad?
Right, and Shannon, those international meetings are one of the rare moments where aides have managed to basically take away the phone and limit the tweeting to whatever was going on that day in terms of state
and then
meetings.
as soon as the president can let it rip on his own, he gives a speech leaving out Article 5.
Right.
You know, he sits down and
leaves
whether
it to his aides to reassert that indeed he's a big believer in Article 5.
His aides who say to him as he's walking out of the G20, we're going to put your surrogate in the seat, and the president himself insists that his daughter Ivanka take his seat. It is the president who hurts his own credibility while forcing his own children into the White House, while saying things that are totally off agenda.
And that's why his own Senate is now saying, look, we have to constrain him. That's why they're doing what they're doing with Mueller. That's why every other weekend he's got to run back to some rally to make himself feel good about himself, because at the end of the day, he is losing Washington. He's losing his own White House. He's losing his own ability to control his party. And I don't think that this is sustainable. I have said this all along. I don't know what's going to happen when this country actually faces a crisis that Trump didn't create himself.
And I'm going to say you're wrong. He is not losing Washington because he just gained a whole grand jury there. All right, we're going to take a break. In about an hour, Attorney General Jeff Sessions